Hey guys, welcome to today's video. So I asked a couple people on Instagram, what do you think would be a cool topic that I should do some videos on? Most people choose that I should do a video on how do you get started in FPV. So FPV stands for first person view, and that dynamic look, that bird's eye like floating through the sky view is what got me really hooked, and I wanted to get involved with it. I really didn't know where to get started. So it's a topic that when you try to get involved, there's so much information, you don't know where to start, and you just get scared and you back away because it's something that it has somewhat of a steep learning curve if you don't know what you're doing. But I'll show you how that you can make this simple, how you can get involved with it, and you can get started and have some fun. So today I'm just going to go over the basic things, what you would need to get started in FPV. I put in a lot of hours, a lot of time to be able to have this type of skill that I can now use in my business and for fun, right? So let's go. So the next step I would advise anyone before you make any purchase, or whether if you have the budget for it or not, the first thing I recommend anyone to do is to get a controller. This is a controller. This is the controller that you use for the DJI FPV or the DJI Avatar, which I will get into. So this is a regular controller, but you don't need this controller to get into FPV. What you can get, however, is a regular gamepad, a regular game controller. It could be any regular Bluetooth game controller. And what you're going to do with this is you're going to download a simulator on your PC. Now, there are some light load simulators that you can get for your PC, so you don't need like a super gaming computer. There are also simulators for your phone that you can pair your controller to. And the idea is that you don't need a professional simulator to get going. What you need is the basic fundamentals and understanding of FPV flying, and that is controlling the two separate joysticks that controls the axis on each side, which is the throttle, the tilt, the roll. And once you get those fundamentals in and you get the hang of it, the muscle memory is where you can take it a step further. Before I go into all the other details, right, and all the stuff that's going to probably get you a bit scared and say maybe it's too much, there is an easy option. And one of the easy options is DJI has paved the way for this. You have something called the DJI FPV and you have the DJI Avatar. So I have the DJI Avatar in front of me. And the benefits of flying the DJI Avatar or the DJI FPV is that it has a couple different modes. So you have a normal mode for when you decide that you're now learning. There's a sport mode. Basically, it's like normal mode, but you're going a bit faster. And then there's the manual mode. If it is you're learning on by yourself, to go the DJI route, is that these DJI drones come with this button right here, and it's an emergency brake button. So if you are flying in auto or manual mode and you get a bit nervous, or you find yourself in a difficult situation, or you're going to crash into something, you can press this button. And once you build that muscle memory to press this button in that emergency, the drone will stop in whatever it's doing. If it's upside down, it's going to turn right side up, and it's going to pause in the air as though you're in a video game and you just pause life. It's going to stay right there till you can recoup yourself and figure out how I'm going to get out of this situation, and the drone starts over in auto mode, right? In normal mode, sorry. So that feature is why I would say start with a DJI drone. So you have that safety net to protect you and to protect your investment. Because when you do crash a drone, it can become very expensive, depends on where and how you crash the drone, right? So I always preach safety. So although it may seem to some that you're spending double the money, but it's going to increase your learn, because if you don't go this route, you actually have to take a lot more baby steps in getting there. But when you do get there, the manual way is where you unlock your full potential. Okay, so as you just saw, those are what you need for the DJI Avatar or the FPV side of things. That's how you go. What I'm going to show you next is the controllers that you use for the manual way. Now this radio controller is called a Radio Master TX16S. Now this controller will control from any type of FPV drones. It'll control a radio control plane, any type of aircraft, a helicopter. So it's very versatile in what it could do. Has a lot of functions packed into this, a lot of features, and this is like something you want to use. If you think that this is too big for your hand and you like a regular gamepad, there are different companies that make smaller radio controllers. They all basically do the same thing, but it's preference. And the good thing about FPV is that they have a lot of things to tailor to your likeness. If you like big stuff, small stuff, flashy stuff, whatever, it's very, you can personalize a lot of the different options. So for instance, as you see, this is one of my radios that I use. I beat this daily. I use this a lot for everything simulator racing. And also I have this version. Now this version here is called the same Radio Master TX16S. It's a Mark II version and it's the MCK. It's Min Shan Kim. He's one of the best race pilots in the world. This is his special edition radio controller. So this MCK radio controller is one of my favorites. This is what I mean, if I come out, I want a little style, I want a little bling, this is what I'm going to use. As I said, the main thing is to go on a simulator and fly as much as possible. When the next question is, when do I come off the simulator and I actually go to purchase my drone, my FPV drone, and I actually start to fly? Two options you have. You can fly on a simulator and wait till you get a hang of it, and once you can take off, I tell people this all the time, once you can take off in the simulator and you can hover and just fly around, just making like basic circles. Once you can leave from like point A, go like a couple feet down, turn and come back to where you took off from, that's enough to get ready to say, hey, I'm ready to build my first or purchase my first FPV. As long as you can take off, orbit, and come back and land, that's enough motivation to say I'm ready. And you have two options. You can either build on your own with some assistance if needed as you now get into it, or you could purchase it ready-made. This is the DJI with the DJI stuff in it, and this is also the DJI like video system, but it's going to give me more control and more power than this. And this is why you want to like put more time into the manual, so I'll get into that. This right here is a traditional FPV. This is like the industry standard. This is what you call a 5-inch FPV. So most people for freestyle fly 5-inch FPV drones, right? So this is the Bobito from Rotor Riot. If you want to get into, eventually you might either want to get to freestyle or racing. This is a race drone. This is a 5-inch race drone. This is called the Light Switch by 533. So this is what a racing drone looks like. It's very light. Same components as the 5-inch that I just showed you, but it's very light and it's very fast. So this is what we race with. So I spoke about DJI. Now I'm going to tell you, you have two options. It's like the Matrix when you say choose the red or the blue pill. So you have two options you can get into. You have something called, you'll hear analog, and you have digital. The DJI, you have this version. So this right here is the DJI FPV Goggles 2. So this goggles is still on the market. It's a very good goggles. Now they don't come looking like this. This is why I say you have the personalized option. I did custom graphics. These are Luminaire. It's a top antenna and a brand in FPV. So these are Luminaire antennas, also Luminaire stubby antennas. I have an ETIX strap. It's an aftermarket strap. This is just a protector for the lens. And this is what your FPV goggles look like. This goggles currently will work with what you call the DJI O3 system, which is with the DJI Avatar, the FPV, the new FPV camera system, or the old DJI FPV drone. So another thing, in FPV, we call, what do you say, a drone, a quad. So it's a quadcopter. For motors, for propellers, we say quadcopter, and for short, we say quads. So when you get into sport, you're going to actually wean off saying drones and you're going to start saying quads. I built a quad, I'm going to fly my quad, stuff like that, right? These are the new ones. So these right here, these are the DJI Goggles 2. So this is DJI latest goggles. There is another variant with less features called the Goggles Integral or Integra, I believe. Don't have much information. I know it just has some like limited features. These goggles are amazing. You can even Wi-Fi stream. So with these goggles, let's say you have your phone or your computer, you're lying on your bed, or you just want to be in your own zone. You can actually like watch YouTube videos, play games, anything you want, just like a VR. You can have it like in your own personal space. This is what you call analog goggles. Now this is the Orca FPV. These are some really good analog. These are my choice for racing, and I'll get into that. So this is what an analog goggle look like. It's slim, it's the same way, but the difference is the picture quality in an analog goggle is not going to look the same. So my DJI goggles, you can actually fly in 4K, just like the Avatar. Yes, true 4K. You can fly 4K 60. You can fly 100 FPS. You can fly 2.7K 120 FPS, and that's great. The picture quality is perfect, but on the analog you're limited. So that's the thing. Some of these are limited to like 30 FPS, 60 FPS. The thing is, analog, people say, has more penetration, meaning you can fly in areas like around more concrete buildings and stuff that the DJI may lose signal. And I think the way technology reached now is I actually don't have a problem with anyone. Where the analog beats the DJI is, although it loses the picture quality, it has a way better latency, and meaning the image transmission gets to you faster. This is noticeable in racing situations. I think I'm gonna spend it where I am gonna enjoy it when I'm flying. So I'm not the one to say, hey, I'm just gonna go out, fly a ton of packs, well, we call batteries packs, make some videos for it to look cool on the internet, and then I do enjoy it. I want to enjoy it. See, the flight that I fly, I want to enjoy it. So for me, I'm gonna fly the DJI system with the 4K, enjoy my immersive flight, then come home and make a video. The analog system, there are systems and cameras that you can, that they would look great, but just not that digital quality, right? Again, I'm going to leave some of this for another video. I don't want to stray too long into this, but there are some pros and cons with the pricing, but you have to look more further down the road, I should say. So that is where some will say, hey, go analog, it's way cheaper overall. But what I'm saying is, once you know exactly what you want or how far you're going to go, what you're going to do, that will determine which money you spend, right? Remember, this is my version of getting into FPV. It's not going to be the most perfect way to some people. It's just my version, right? I got a bunch of these things here, and these are called radio transmitters. This is what transmit the signals to your FPV quad. Now they all have their pros and cons, but what I'm leaning to is Crossfire works. It's very smooth, but I moved over to the Immersion RC Ghost for racing because again it has a faster latency, and it's also very smooth. Like all my quads on Ghost, it's perfect. I have no complaints. Batteries need to charge. You need batteries. Now the DJI system, if you're busy, you're now getting into it, you don't want to learn the art of charging, you just plug these in your adapter. They charge for themselves. Also, you can't leave batteries fully charged. They will cause damage to themselves, meaning they want to lose the performance, the health of the battery. So you need to put them in storage mode. You have to manually put this in storage mode. If you leave this battery fully charged, it's going to be very dangerous having this battery in your home, and you're going to damage the health of this battery. Now these batteries are very dangerous. I'm not going to lie to you. It is very, very dangerous. These batteries could catch a fire, and the fire, these are lithium batteries, and these batteries, when they catch a fire, they don't need anything from you to combust. So no water, anything is going to stop this, right? You need special stuff to get this out. So you have to be very cautious when storing these batteries in your home, also when you're charging them and when you're transporting them. So you want to get a lipo-safe battery bag, and you also want to choose a safe location when you're storing these batteries. I will also get into that in a later video, but the main thing is not to frighten you. It's just that you need to have some care. You need to check the battery voltages. If you do end up in a crash, you need to inspect them, make sure no cells are damaged, and you need to discharge this battery to storage when you put it away, right, for a long time, right? But this here, it's a traditional battery charger, a LiPo battery charger. So what I'm gonna show you guys is these bad boys right here. So these are GoPros, right? This is a GoPro. These are GoPros 11 and a 10. Now these GoPros is what you're gonna put to the front of your drone, your quad, right? So they go like this. Let me show you. Right. So these 3D printed mounts, you put your GoPro in here, and this is what you record. So you set these and you configure these to do all your recording of your flight that you're going to use for your job, for your videos, for whatever you're going to do. And this camera here is what you use when you're flying. So it's two different systems. So this is one of the advantages of having a custom-made FPV drone versus the DJI Avatar or the FPV. So for instance, if I need to fly my DJI Avatar to record something for my business or something that I want to use to make a video, and I want to have this in 4K, let's say most videos we shoot in 24 frames, 30 frames, sometime at 60 frames. Flying at that low frame rate is not always suitable for when you're actually flying the drone, because it could be a bit like it's stuttering and stuff like that, and it's not going to give you a fluid flight, right? And especially if you're flying in poor lit conditions, the ISO settings and stuff that you'll need to have in the Avatar, it's not going to be a good setting for you to fly with. So that's why when you have two separate systems, you have your FPV system and you have the GoPro or your action camera, I should say, attached. You can configure your camera that you want to record your video with to the perfect settings for that lighting condition or the look that you're trying to achieve, and you have your video feed to your goggles in a setting that's going to be perfect for your flying conditions. You can fly safe and enjoy your flight. And that's why I love having the customizable side of things, which is going the custom built way. But I must say that if you're now getting involved, there's also the safety net way of going the DJI. Both sides is good. I would just say going custom is just more or less spending more time on the sim and making sure you're comfortable, trying to get someone, a friend, see who's there in your area, your neighborhood, or you can find probably close by that into FPV, so they can kind of be like, you know, like a wingman with you when you go out for your first couple of flights. And you can go like that, or you go the DJI way, where you can just be with your own self at home or safe savannah, and you can go fly and you have your brake, emergency brake. So I'm gonna break this into a lot of different parts and stuff that I actually did when I went through the stages. And this is just was an introduction. What are some of the things you need to do, you need to have in getting into it? So let's go over some of the things again. So you need your FPV goggles, whether it's digital or analog. You need your drone, your quad, I should say, whether it's a 2-inch, 3.5, 4-inch, 5-inch, 7-inch. You just need to have one. You need to have the battery for it. You need to have your radio system. As I say, whether it's a full-size gamepad style, you need to have a matching radio system to what's the electronics, a match electronics on the quadcopter, right? Those are some of the things when you get into FPV that you're going to need. And I'm going to leave it to just get any regular gamepad, any Bluetooth controller that you could either plug through USB or Bluetooth. Use your phone. I know on Android it's very easy. So use any controller, download, look for some of the sims. If you're on PC, you can look on Steam, download Steam if you don't have it, and search up. There are some nice simulators. There's a couple of them out there. And get any simulator. It don't need to be a special one. All you're looking for is to build that muscle memory, that fundamental, get that in, get comfortable flying, and after that you're going to be well on your way in the air. If you want to have someone do things, that's why there's a pre-built option. There are people that does custom build stuff like myself and a lot of people in different countries. But I preach that get involved, get hands-on, learn to solder, learn to program. It's going to be way easier and more fun, because when you crash, you damage something, you can just switch it out on your own and you could be back in the air. You don't have to call no one. So that's what I try to push for people to be very dependent on yourself and getting through this hobby. And yeah, it can be a lot of fun, but again, safety first in everything you do. Be mindful of where you go to fly, where you practice. um yeah, so stay tuned, look out for the other videos. I'm going to be doing some shorter parts of these. Also check out my Instagram, where I'll try to do some short reels with some of the stuff that I do have to pack into all these videos. But I'm gonna make these videos as much as I can as I get time. And yeah, so stay tuned. Thanks for watching. Peace out.